Hey everybody, welcome to the channel. This is Raph's Crafts. I'm Raph, and on this channel we'll do things crafts. So today will be the first video of the channel. Could be a long one. Just got the Xtool S1 laser. So we'll kind of put it all together, run through a test burn, and see how things go. So I have the Xtool D1 Pro. That's a 20 watt laser. I've had that for a little over a year now, maybe even closer to 2 years. But I thought it was time to upgrade. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and get started. So with the kit that I bought, it has the S1 40 watt laser, the riser base, the auto feeding conveyor belt. Well, it's not a belt, but it's conveyor. We've got the rotary attachment, the RA2 Pro. We've got the 1064 nanometer. This is the 2 watt laser module. The fire safety kit. And I'm sure I'm missing something, but it'll all come out of the box. So we'll start by building the riser base for the laser. So the riser base is just used so you can do products that are taller. Also, if you're going to use that conveyor belt, the conveyor or the rotary tool attachment, you'll need those risers. So let's go ahead and start figuring out where that base is. Well, while we're at it, so this is a materials pack. They kind of give you some stuff to get started on. We'll see what we got in there. We've got 2 of these wooden keychains. We've got 2 little metal discs. Some leather. Some wood, and that feels like it's some vinyl. Or not vinyl, but acrylic. Alright, I reckon we'll tear into this box first. So one thing I can say about Xtool, I love their packaging. Everything is always very well laid out. You can see they kind of like engrave everything that is supposed to hold something. Okay, so this is our RA2. Alright, this looks like our riser base. Okay, these are just some safety goggles. So this laser is an enclosed laser, so in theory we shouldn't need these. But if you want some extra safety, you can definitely wear them while using your laser. The D1 Pro was not an enclosed laser, so it was kind of important to have those until I purchased a enclosure for them. Okay, so we've got 2 small screw packs. We'll want to make sure we keep an eye on those. Alright, and then we have this piece marked L for left and one marked R for right. We have a strip of something that will go on something. One marked F for front. And one marked B for back. Alright, that looks like everything, so let's hop over here and start putting it together. Okay, so first things first, we'll go ahead and get this riser base put together. So looking at the diagram, the first thing that we do is we take the F for front and place it down so that way all the writing is correct, if that makes sense. Then the left and the right is as viewed. So when I look at the sides, L will be on my left side, R will be on my right side. And again, just make sure that the writing is in appropriately. And then the back, when you lay it down, will be upside down. So the word back being furthest away from you. All right. Okay, so next thing we're going to do is this little flappy door piece. is going to slide into the bottom here, and I don't know if you'll be able to make it out, but there's a little screw hole there. So we'll just line up the brackets so that we can drop a screw in there. So Xtool does give you a little tool that is a small Phillips, about a number 1 Phillips, and also an Allen that will fit those screws that we just pulled from the bag. And so especially when I'm putting anything together that's square in shape, I never tighten anything down until I have everything in place, so that way if I have to maneuver anything for screw holes to line up, I'm good to go. So now I'm just doing the same exact thing with the back piece. And since this is the last screw, I'm just going to go ahead and tighten that one all the way down. And then work my way around to get everything all tightened. Okay, now we'll take the laser and pop that on top. So let me go grab that. Okay, so we've got our laser. It looks a lot heavier than it is. So just want to call something out here. When you take a look here, we've got these squares in the top of the riser, and there's feet down at the bottom of the laser, so they're just going to kind of sit in there. I guess while we're here, we'll be unboxing the laser. So obviously you've seen the laser itself. Inside we've got some air tubing, some venting. Here's those tools I was telling you about. We've got some grease. Looks like some filters. But we'll worry about that later. Okay, this here is the air assist. So what that does is pushes air out alongside the laser, so that way it kind of helps prevent any charring or anything on the wood. Our power cords, our data cords, USB cable, here's our 40-watt module. It's the laser itself and our power block. Okay, I'm going to pop this little tray out of the bottom here just so I can see a little bit better. Okay, so I am supposed to take this little tray out. So I guess I treat those directions the way I treat my wife. I only listen to about half of what is said. So this is a tray. This tray has to come out for it to sit on there. So let me pop that out real quick. So this tray is actually what works inside the riser bed. So if you think about like a regular oven and how they have different levels for your racks, this is the same concept. Okay, we'll get that tray out. So now we'll go for take 2. There we go. Much gooder. Okay, so when you follow the directions, pretty simple. Okay, so now the screws that you should have left from your riser base are 1 long silver screw and 5 shorter silver screws. So basically 3 screws are going to go on each side, but on the left side, when viewed, you have these 3 screws. That longer one is going to go here and screw into the base. So I'm going to get all those in there. Just wanted to call out the taller of the 2. Again, like I mentioned with the base, I am just getting these all started, and then once they all have a home, then I'll tighten them all down. Okay, so we've got all that put together. Okay, so all we're going to do is pop our thing, and then we'll put one of these strips along the door here. And that's just going to keep it, since we have the riser base on there, that's going to help keep all the lights in the enclosed areas how they're supposed to be. Alright, And there you have it. That's the riser base. So now we're going to go ahead and we might as well go ahead and get the machine itself set up. Okay, so first things first, on the inside there's going to be 2 white blocks that have to come out. And this was basically there for shipping. Not sure how well you'll be able to see it, but there is one here and one here. So we will pop those out. So if you didn't get the riser base, from this point forward, it's going to be the same with or without the riser base. Okay, so sorry if this is not the best angle. We're doing what we can do here. Okay, so we've already cut all those things off. Next thing we're going to do is connect our power cable and our air hose. So that will just pop on there. And then we'll do that. And now you have this little nub here, and inside here you have kind of like what you would see on the back of a picture frame. So we're going to stick that in the hole first, and then it'll slide down. So obviously, since these modules are interchangeable, regardless of what laser module you purchased, these steps will be exactly the same. All right, and good to go. So next we have to get the distance sensor, and that was just inside our toolbox down at the bottom. So when you look at the back of the distance sensor, we have this little tab, and if you can see, we have a little slot here. So we're just going to line that up, and then that bottom part will be flush with the bottom of the laser module. All right, moving right along. Okay, so we have a few things in the back. We have the lock, we have the computer, USB-C port, the power switch, our vents, air, some USB-Cs, and fire. So first things first, we're going to take these screws out of this exhausting vent. Don't drop the screws like I did, because you are going to be reusing those. Okay, normally I try not to be too rough with things. If they don't come out naturally, I try not to force them out, but we had to make an exception on that one. All right, we'll just pop the exhaust tube in there and drop these screws right back in. All right. Okay, so also while we have it flipped around, we'll go ahead and we have air tubing here for our air assist. And I'm just going to mark this because of the fact that I'm connecting both the air assist and the extinguisher. I want to make sure I get them all connected in the right spots afterwards. And there's only 2 different air tubes, so we'll just mark the extinguisher. So these, like I said, were not USB-Cs. They kind of look like a larger micro USB. But these are basically going to be the data cables that talk to the air assist and also the fire suppression system. So I'll go ahead and get those plugged in. And last but not least, our power cable. Now also inside of your toolbox, there's these 2 little USB dongles. That is actually a safety feature, so if you wanted another way of making sure that
a little kiddo or something doesn't mess with your laser and hurt themselves, you pull that out and then the system will not operate. I don't know, I said last but not least previously, but this time, I think, last but not least, we will just plug in our cable that goes to our computer.
Okay, so we moved indoors because that's where I plan on setting this up. We spent money for this big air purifier, and we'll see that in a moment. But first, let's go ahead and get this air assessed in. This is pretty simple setup. You've just got two connectors. You've got the hose, which we set up in the back, if you remember correctly. And then we have either powered through a electrical outlet or through that cord that's coming out of the back of the machine itself. So if you remember, we marked the one that was extinguisher already. So we'll just take the one that's unmarked. We'll slide that into the back here, like such. And then we'll just grab one of those power cables and then we'll plug that in the back the same way. Alright, so we'll just sit that off to the side and that one's good to go. Okay, so you'll hear from the faceless man for a while here. So as you see on the back here, we've got the exhaust, power button, and power cable. Okay, and on the front we have the filters, so we are going to start with those. We'll just pull those out, it looks. So that's what the filter itself looks like. Okay, and so what we have is a total of 5 filters. You'll see they're all labeled. So you just put it in so you could still read the writing. So we'll start with number 5. This is the high efficiency filter, and it just slides right on into the tray. Then you have an ultra dense carbon mesh filter. Followed by an activated carbon filter. A medium efficiency filter, and your pre-filter. Okay, then it comes with this little cover here. So we'll just take off this plastic covering. You know what, I think I'll leave it on so it doesn't get scratched up. Alright, and it just magnetically goes in place. Okay, now different machines have different directions. This is for the S1 and the F1 Ultra. So we're going to take a pipe connector 1, which will be one of these. And now this is the hose that's coming off the back of the machine. We'll go on the hose, we'll turn that counterclockwise until it's secure. Then we just pop that onto the back of the machine. Okay, and one thing I forgot to mention, there is this little Bluetooth dongle. And that's so if your machine is compatible, it can communicate with the air filter. Okay, and now for the last of the safety features, we have the fire set, or the safety set. And basically this is just a fire extinguishing system. So that is the box. And then you have 4 CO2 cartridges. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is go ahead and put those CO2 cartridges in. So we're just going to pinch on the side here. And that will release the top. And then we'll just screw these cylinders in till they stop. Okay, so now that we have all those in there in the back, we're just going to plug in that cable that or the air hose here, and that cable going into the back of the machine here. And then we'll make sure this switch is in the up position.
appears to be all set and ready to go. Okay, so that's going to wrap up putting everything together for the S1 by Xtool. Definitely excited to see what kind of stuff we can get done. Thanks for sticking around. I know it was a long video, but hopefully we'll get quicker. See you soon.